I saw an apartment I could actually afford, but I'd need a loan. And my first thought wasn't excitement, it was just dread. Like I'm signing up for a lifetime of stress. Why does trying to build a future feel like digging a hole?
Because we're taught to see debt as a hole, a sign of not having enough. But what if that's the wrong picture? What if some debt isn't a hole you dig, but a ladder you buy?
A ladder? How can owing someone money be a ladder? It's a rate. It holds you down. Every month you have to make that payment. It limits your freedom.
It can feel that way. That feeling comes from a very common, very logical belief. Being free from debt is the ultimate goal. Financial safety means owing nothing to anyone.
Yes, exactly. That's what my parents always said. Pay off your debts as fast as you can. Don't borrow money if you can avoid it.
It's good advice, born from a desire for security, and for many people it works. But it quietly fails when it prevents us from growing. It treats all debt the same. It's like saying all fire is bad, so you should never use it, not even to cook your food or heat your home.
Okay, I see the analogy. But fire is dangerous, and so is debt.
It is, which is why we need to change the question we ask. The question isn't, is debt bad? The real question is, what am I using this debt for? Are you using it to buy something that disappears or something that grows?
You mean like buying a fancy dinner versus buying a car?
That's getting closer. Let's think about the dinner. You use a credit card, you enjoy the meal, and it's over. The value is gone, but the debt is still there. In fact, with interest, the debt gets bigger.
Right. That's definitely bad debt. I think everyone understands that.
Now think about the car. It's more useful than a dinner. But what happens to its value the moment you drive it away from the dealership?
It drops a lot. Everyone knows that. A new car loses value immediately.
Exactly. So even though the car is a big physical thing, the debt you use to buy it is still tied to something that is losing value every single day. The debt stays the same or grows with interest, while the thing you bought shrinks in worth. This is the key. Most people see debt as just a way to buy things they can't afford right now.
Yes, that's what it is.
But a more powerful way to think is not about buying, but about acquiring. The goal is to acquire things that can increase your wealth over time.
Acquire? So it's not just about owning something, it's about what it does for you financially.
Precisely. You don't just buy it, you bring it onto your financial team. This leads to a very simple but powerful way to see your financial world. Everything you own or could own fits into one of two buckets.
2 buckets?
Yes. The first bucket is for things that put money into your pocket. The second is for things that take money out of your pocket. That's it.
Things that put money in my pocket. Like my salary.
Your salary is income, which is related. But let's talk about the things you own. For example, imagine you own a small apartment and you rent it to someone. Every month, that person pays you rent. After you pay the costs, like repairs and taxes, you have money left over. That apartment is putting money in your pocket.
Okay, that makes sense.
In finance, we call that an asset. An asset is something you own that generates income or grows in value. Now think about that car we talked about. You have to pay for fuel, insurance, repairs, parking. It's constantly taking money out of your pocket.
Right, definitely taking money out.
We call that a liability. It's something you own that costs you money to keep. The common mistake is that people use debt to buy liabilities. A new phone, a vacation, a fancy car. The debt creates a permanent cost while the item provides temporary value.
So, good debt buys assets and bad debt buys liabilities. That's the rule?
That is the mental model. It's a filter for your decisions. When you think about taking on debt, you run it through that filter. Will this loan help me acquire an asset or a liability?
That is actually very clear. So a student loan could be good debt. Because you're buying education, which is an asset, it should increase my ability to earn money for the rest of my life.
Exactly. You are investing in yourself. Your future income is the return on that investment. You've used debt to acquire a powerful personal asset. Now, what about the mortgage on the apartment you saw?
Well, I would live in it, so it wouldn't be putting money in my pocket like a rental property. It would still cost me money. So it's a liability.
This is where it gets interesting. A home you live in has costs, yes. But unlike a car, what do houses tend to do over a long period of time?
They usually go up in value.
Right. So while it has costs like a liability, it has the potential to grow in value like an asset. It's a hybrid. But compare it to paying rent. When you pay rent, where does that money go?
To my landlord. I never see it again. It's gone.
But when you pay a mortgage, a small part of that payment is reducing your loan. You are slowly buying a bigger piece of an asset that is hopefully growing in value. The debt is helping you capture that future growth.
Okay, I'm starting to see how debt can be a tool, a ladder, like you said, but it still feels slow and risky. Saving my own money feels safer. Why borrow a huge amount when I could just save up and buy something smaller with my own cash?
That is the responsible voice inside all of us. Using your own money feels safe because if it fails, you only lose what you put in. But it also dramatically limits your speed and your potential.
Why? It seems like simple math. If I have $10,000, I can invest $10,000.
Correct. Now let's say you find a small property that costs $100,000. You don't have that much cash, but the bank agrees to lend you $90,000 if you use your $10,000 as the initial payment. So you are using your small amount of money to control a much larger asset.
Okay.
Okay, let's imagine after a few years the property market does well. Your property is now worth $110,000. It has increased in value by $10,000. Who gets that $10,000?
I do. It's my property.
Exactly. Your personal investment was only $10,000, but you made a profit of $10,000. You have doubled your money. If you had just put your own cash into an investment that grew by the same rate, 10%, you would have only made $1,000.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. So I get all the benefit of the growth, even on the money the bank loaned me.
That is the power of leverage. You are using a small force, your own money, to lift something much heavier, the full value of the asset. Good debt gives you leverage. It allows your money to do more work than it could on its own.
Leverage. Okay, this sounds great in theory. Assets, leverage, but it feels like a magic trick. What about the risk? What if the house value goes down by $10,000 instead of up? Then my investment is wiped out. I still owe the bank all that money, but my asset is worth less. Smart people lose everything this way. It feels like gambling.
You are absolutely right to focus on the risk. It's not a magic trick and it is not guaranteed. Leverage works in both directions. It amplifies gains and it amplifies losses. This isn't about eliminating risk. It's about understanding the nature of the risk you are taking.
What do you mean the nature of the risk? A risk is a risk.
Let's go back to the car loan. You borrow money to buy a car. Is there a risk?
No, not really. I mean, I have to pay the loan, but the car is just a car.
But the outcome is certain. The car will lose value. The money you spend on it is guaranteed to be a net loss over time. The risk of financial loss is 100%. You are using debt to guarantee a loss.
I've never thought of it as a guaranteed loss, but you're right.
Now think about the property loan. As you said, the value could go down. There is a real risk of loss, but there is also a real possibility of gain. You are taking a calculated risk for a potential positive return. Bad debt has a certain negative outcome. Good debt has an uncertain positive outcome.
So the choice isn't between safe and risky. It's between certain loss and possible gain.
And which of those choices will build wealth over 30 years? The skill is not in avoiding all risk. The skill is in learning to tell the difference between productive risks and certain losses. That understanding is the foundation of financial literacy.
Financial literacy. It's not about being a math genius. It's about knowing which questions to ask.
Exactly. The average person asks, can I afford the monthly payment? The financially literate person asks, will this debt help me acquire an asset or a liability?
And they ask, am I using leverage in a smart way to control something that can grow, not just to buy something that will shrink?
You see the shift? The focus moves from the cost of the debt to the purpose of the debt.
It changes the whole feeling. The dread I felt about that apartment loan, it was the fear of being trapped, but I wasn't seeing the other side. The possibility that the loan isn't a trap, but a vehicle.
A vehicle to get you from where you are to where you want to be. It can be a very powerful one if you know how to steer it.
So when I look at my finances now, I should be sorting everything into those two buckets. My car is a liability. My camera that I use for weekend freelance work, that could be an asset. It helps me earn money.
That's the thinking. You start to see the world through that lens. Every major financial decision becomes clearer.
It's not about being in debt or debt-free. It's about being on the right side of the equation, knowing if my money is working for me or if I'm just working for my money.
And now you know how to ask the question,